So start with Angie Brungardt from the Kansas State Department of Education. So I'll hand off to you, Angie.
Great. Thanks, Robert. And thanks, Christy, for allowing me this opportunity to talk to everyone about our program. Angie Brungardt, Mental Health Field Liaison Coordinator for KSDE's MHIT program. You'll see also on this slide contact information for myself and for my director, John Calvert. So if you do have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out and connect with us. Next slide, please. This slide shows an overview of our program. It focuses on 4 categories. We like to talk about their goals and characteristics of our program. So the first one talks about our mission, increasing every student's academic potential. The second one talks about what we do, connecting service providers. The third one talks about how customized our services are, how we provide our services. And the fourth category talks about the why, us prioritizing our students' mental health needs. So I want to dig a little deeper into this slide. So I'll go through each one of these goals so that you understand the importance of the goals and characteristics of our program. So with that first one, increasing academic potential, KSDE's MHIT program is dedicated to improving each of its students' overall academic potential by breaking down barriers to mental health services to those who need it most. We serve students K through 12. In that second category, connecting to service providers, under KSDE's guidance, school districts employ school-based liaisons who identify students needing intense behavioral and mental health services and links them to local providers. And the third category are customized services. We want you to know that each of our MHIT programs, our 90 school districts, is unique, and they customize their programs to fit the needs of their individual students, their families, and their community. And fourth, but definitely not least, we prioritize our students' mental health. This program is innovative, it's preventative, and it makes a difference in the lives of our most precious resources, our children. Next slide, please. This is how it all started. Year 1, 2018-2019, our legislature approved a program. It was a pilot program. It involved 9 school districts, 5 mental health providers, 45 school-based liaisons across the state, and served a total of 1,708 students. So those were students that weren't receiving therapy or case management services until our program came along. But it does get better than that. Next slide will show you that as each year progressed, our program continued to expand beyond its expectations. You'll see each year we increased our school districts. That's the bottom row there. So we went from 9 in the beginning, 66 last year. We went from serving the 1,700 students to serving 6,014 students last year. That's across the state, providing therapy and case management services. Next slide. This year, MHIT is in its 6th year in Proviso. We serve 90 school districts, 24 of which are brand new to the program. Our school districts employ 182 school-based liaisons. And in our December progress report, December 23, we served over 5,732 students, and that does include 477 foster care students. Next slide, please. This is a slide that shows our monitoring and how we monitor our program's progress. We do that through 4 indicators. Those indicators include the realms of academics, attendance, internalizing behaviors and externalizing behaviors. We do this through an internet-based closed system. It's called our MHIT data portal. In addition, we'd like you to know that our program does have guardrails. Our agency does partner with mental health providers across the state, local mental health providers, and we do contracts, MOUs between them and our school districts, as well as we provide releases of information between our school districts and the guardians. This program is voluntary, and we are happy to engage with families who are interested in our services. Next slide, please. This slide shows is a picture by USD boundaries. It's our 90 school districts. What I like to say about this slide is that it shows that there are clusters of communities that understand the value of this program. And that's what we feel is important, is that this program continues to grow through word of mouth. If one school district has it and another one hears about it, they want it. And that's exactly what we like to see. Next slide, please. This is a list of our 24 newest school districts. What I like to show here is just the variance of our school districts. There are 4 that I wanted to point out here that are some of our smallest school districts in the program. They serve between 200 and 300 students in their populations. So examples would be Burlington, Nest City, Golden Plains, and Rural Vista as some of our new districts. But we also have larger school districts. So you'll see Gardner Edgerton, their student body serves around 6,000 students. And then also Dodge City serves around 7,000 students. Next slide, please. This is a list of our key players for the program. So like I mentioned, our school districts employ a school-based liaison, and we like to call them the bridges. They share educationally appropriate information amongst mental health providers and classroom teachers. Our next program player is our mental health provider therapists. They conduct assessments, establishing treatment plans, and continually assessing appropriate levels of care. What we like to mention about our therapists is we're very thankful. They come into our school buildings. That's the partnership that we've built. And we find that that breaks down a lot of barriers for our families. The barrier of a parent needing to take time off of school to transport that student, and also it breaks down barriers. It helps destigmatize mental illness between our families, our students, and school staff even. And then last but not least, another key player in this program is our mental health provider case managers. They work with therapists to implement treatment plan goals in school and in family settings. Next slide, please. This slide shows the variance in our school districts. Our program, as you see down at the bottom, includes 90 school districts. To break that down though and look at it on this slide kind of helps explain how different each program is. So we do have 2 school districts. Their student body head count is around 25,000 students. They employ 30 school liaisons. Then we have medium school districts, and their student body is usually around 3,000 to 10,000 students. That's about 11 of our programs, and they employ usually less than 10 school liaisons per school district. And then the majority are our small school districts. And I do apologize, that number 59 should be in the 70s, I believe. That was a typo on my part. But those small school districts usually employ a part-time school-based liaison or up to two school-based liaisons per district. Next slide. So as we were talking about the size of our school districts, I just wanted to note how different our school liaisons roles and tasks look. And so the first box at the top talks about those lower population schools, the 70 some school districts that are smaller. Those school liaisons usually provide services to 1 to 2 attendance centers in their school district. They do an excellent job of maximizing community resources and community relationships. And then those larger school districts base their programs on referrals and preventative programs. And what's unique about them, they may be spread thin, 5 or more attendance centers, but they typically employ master's level social workers who can also provide group therapy as needed for preventative care services. So when you look at our stats, you may see how many students we're serving in therapy, but what you're not seeing is how many students we are preventing from going into intensive therapy. And I also like to note that both of our programs, they assist with mental health student services, including referrals and connections with case management, school, and families. Next slide, please. And this is where we come full circle. When we were talking about that 4th category, why this matters. This is from a high school student. And they say, my therapist saved my life. I usually get choked up about this. We can talk about our numbers all day, but this one student's sentiment says it all. MHIT's innovative, preventative, and it saves lives. And I think that's what we're here for. So, and that's all the information that I have about our program. I'm sure you guys have questions, so we'll talk about that after our next presenter.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you so much, Angie. I'm so impressed with MHIT and its growth, and I'm so pleased that our legislature is so strongly supportive of this program because it is a great and important program.